Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Today we have Dr. Kanchan Bahukhandi with us as our Researcher Celebrity. A little brief about Dr. Kanchan. She has done her bachelor's in Water Resource Management and Environmental Sciences, master's in Environmental Sciences, and both these degrees were at HNB Garhwal University. Then she joined UPES, Dehradun, and also pursued PhD in environmental sciences at Wardia Institute of Himalayan Geology. And currently, Dr. Kanchan is Senior Associate Professor in Sustainability Cluster at UPES Dehradun. She is very passionate academician and also environmental researcher. Let's welcome Dr. Kanchan at the platform and starting the conversation. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kushaba, for having a nice introduction.
So we always start our conversation that how and when you decided that you want to become a researcher.
Oh, it's really a difficult question. But before giving this straightforward answer about like how I got the interest in research, I want to go back in my childhood. So actually, I studied. I have sorry.
This is like
Actually.
all the researchers are, from their childhood, they have all these stories which we always enjoy because this is what it is. The curious brain, that's the most important part. Yes, ma'am.
So actually, I studied. I born in Dehradun in a very rural village. Okay, so that time it used to be very interior village, and although I studied in a very government school, that was a Janata Inter College, but since this, like I got the education in rural village, but in my family, my grandfather, my father, they were very much concern about the education. So even my grandfather, he was in army. So he had a lot of interest that, one should study and one should, for him, like, no, the study, getting knowledge is one of the important thing. So these are the kind of things, like I have been motivated a lot, despite, having a rural background and where we didn't have that much kind of culture of studies. And then I have been motivated by my grandfather, my father actually is a politician, and he is more inclined in that the politics, especially for the left movement. So my child was like that. We have always been taught, discuss about that. About the success stories and of these the Subhash Chandra Bose and Chandrasekhar Azad. And I remember that in my childhood, my father, he brought two books for us, like Human Origin and Evolution, and the second one was Evolution of Earth. So these are the kind of books, I got a lot of interest, and he always explained, and his approach was scientific only, always how Earth has formed, okay, how the discovery of Earth, it took place, what are the various stages were there, and similarly, the evolution of human being, how early human being used to live in the forest area, and then slowly, the evolution started with the agriculture society, then industrial society, so like that. So we got luckily I got such type of environment, where we have been always focused about the science, technology, so the real things.
Mhm.
Usually it happens that if you have a family staying in a rural area, so they are more inclined towards this. Okay, this is happening because of this religion, this god and that god, and the it is a luck, and lot of things were taught. But in our place, in our family, it was not like that. They were very much open about it. Once you the knowledge is one of the important key to success, and knowledge is the power. We have always been taught that getting knowledge is very important than anything else. So we have been given such type of books in my childhood. I remember that I think when I was 5 year old, my father brought a beautiful that books of that history of human evolution and this early human. And even we have been, provided a lot of other books which was written on the freedom stories. And even my grandfather also, he was that he fought that First World War
Mm-hmm.
as a army officer, soldier, Second World War. So, we have got a lot of such type of that, that uh, interest or motivation that,
Yeah.
okay, well, we should do something good in our life. And especially my grandfather always used to tell me, like, because of that extreme poverty in the Garhwal region, because he's from the Chamoli Garhwal, he did not get the opportunity even to clear his 10th standard. So
Mm-hmm.
that regret he had until the last breath of his life. He
Mm-hmm.
died at the age of 93, and I remember even before his like during his last day only, he was telling him, no, now I will take rebirth and I will definitely study a lot. In this life, I could not study. But he always emphasized us, okay, I did not study, but you guys studied a lot. I mean, we will give you everything, all the facilities. So that was the kind of things, I have been inspired, motivated. Then later, my father also motivated towards this science and technology. And I remember that when I was in fifth or sixth standard, so there was some science mela happening in our that Dehradun district. So I have gone there. I stayed. My father took me there. I stayed for 1 week. So there they have told that interesting things about the science and technologies. Like they have told how you can make this watch because in earlier time the watch was not there, so how people used to see the times with the sunlight, and how people used to connect with the distance, that time phones were not there, so that was a small scientific experience, that experiments were done. So that was the time so these are the time, I got fascinated towards the science and technology. I got a lot of interest. So this is about the my school journey. And during my school days, even I had a lot of interest, especially in the physics and mathematics. So physics, I used to fascinate a lot about the physics. How does it apply that? Because it is the kind of branch which give the technology in different branch of science, engineering, or so I got a lot of interest. Then later, when I completed my 12th class, okay, so that time, no, it happened with every student. Now what next? It's the engineering or medical. So since because I had a PCM in my 11, 12, so definitely there was a choice and options for the doing engineering. But since my father, he is a very much knowledgeable person. He keep on reading lot of things, so he told me, ki, look, there's a new field coming up in this area. Like now, the coming years, there would be the future, the pollution it is happening, the global warming it is happening, climate changes it is happening. Okay, and the kind of that environmental pollution it is happening in our surrounding. Okay, that is causing depletion of resources, water resources they are depleting, and then there's a lot of that problems which is happening, that greenhouse gas emission, ozone layer depletion. So in our home, these type of conversation usually happens most of the time. Okay, that how there's a lot of in India, like there's a lot of farmers which are using chemical fertilizers, pesticides. Okay, and then there was a that Bhopal gas tragedy which happened in 1984. So he told you to see how these chemical things they are destroying the human being life. And through I because of that, I also got a lot of interest in these area. How these chemical fertilizer, pesticide, it is going in human body through biomagnification process. How the concentration of these toxic chemicals keep on increasing along with the food chain. So
Mm-hmm.
it is entirely degrading our agricultural land. So I'm just telling you, these were that conversation which was happening in my home. So my father told me this would be a very interesting field, and in the coming year, it require a lot of professionals in the coming years.
Yes.
because I'm talking about the year of 1999. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a very beginning era, especially if we talk about the environmental science sustainability. That
Yeah.
time even people were not aware about it. This is also one of the course. So I
Mm-hmm.
just gone through the brochure. I brought the courses of my that Gadwal University courses, and this was the first second batch which was started on water resource management and environmental science. So I took admission in that course. So as I took admission in that course, it was a very amazing experience
Mm-hmm.
because it was the first time I studied that environmental science. There were the professors coming from the FRI, Forest Research Institute India, and it was a new subject. That time even books were not available in the market. There
Mm-hmm.
were only foreign writing books available. We have listened about it, like, and it used to be very costly. I mean, maybe 40,000, 50,000. It was difficult to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Indian writing books were not available at all. So that means, so the whatever the lecture professors they used to give in our class, na, so that is a kind of very precious thing for us. So for so we used to write, we used to understand. Okay, first time we heard about this is a acid rain. How does this acid rain happen? What is acid rain? The oxygen, the oxide of nitrogen, and this it react with the water. And first time we heard about there's a ozone hole in Antarctica. Okay, and there's a chlorofluorocarbon gases which are emitted from the refrigerator and creating ozone holes, which are further creating a lot of problem related to cancer and a lot of these things. So when I and then we studied about the climate change issues, and I'm very that time we didn't have a books available, so we used to go FRI library, Forest Research Institute library. So there was some research paper written on the climate change and sustainability, and there still those handwritten notes are available with me. So we studied that after 20 years, due to the climate change, the sea level will increase, island will submerge, and there will be global pandemic. And and when this global pandemic happened, this 2020, so I was recalling, it's almost 20 years only since that I studied. So the scientists, they predicted all these things very long back.
Yes.
Okay, so I studied in a time where we used to study that this will happen due to climate change. The sea level will increase, an island will submerge, there will be drought, there will be flood, there will be extreme weather events, there will be global pandemic. And now, if I go in my class, I deliver lecture on these issues, I tell a student this is happening. So this is the difference. The 20 years back, we used to study this will happen, and now in reality, these things are happening.
Yes.
Okay, so during my graduation time, I really got a lot of interest in this area because it is a kind of new things. Now, so we are curious how this happened, and human being is responsible. So, because we have heard about this chemical fertilizer and pesticide. We studied the story of the Punjab region, how
Mm-hmm.
the Punjab is the state of our India. It has become a cancerous belt,
Mm-hmm.
and even most of in many states of our country, whether it is Haryana or Maharashtra. So in most of the places, the soil it became it is degraded and
Yes.
it is contaminated due to excessive use of chemical fertilizer and pesticides,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So these are the issues which had motivated me a lot towards to study more and to contribute in this area. So I thought I have to that time I decided. I'm telling you that I would be around maybe 17 or 18 year olds, and I decided that I would become environmentalist.
Mm-hmm.
That was my kind of my dream, that I have to work in this area only because it's triggered such type of problems is triggered a lot, you know.
Yes.
So then consequences we already are seeing everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, that most of the people they are facing the problem of cancers. Even day before yesterday, I was discussing with my father, and this I'm talking about the same village that is a Karbari in Dehradun. So he was telling me here every suppose every three person, I mean third person is suffering with the cancer. I was discussing how it could possible. I mean, then he was telling me, you are working in this field. It's better you do research in this area. When I told that I took many times groundwater sample and surface water sample of those regions of Dehradun district, but I didn't find such type of toxic contaminants which caused cancer. So we were just discussing there would be. Then we were discussing, okay, it's mainly because of the chemical fertilizer and pesticide, but why in only certain reason? But it is
Mm-hmm.
happening. Suppose this is a big village and there would be, first, second, third different lanes are there, but it was happening in certain area
Mm-hmm.
of that reason. So then I was thinking, I'll try to do some research. There are a lot of factors even associated. We are discussing like peoples are having that adulterated foods, lifestyle, a lot of things like I we were just still we have to research in this area.
Yes.
So this is one of the thing. So I'm telling during my BSc, so at that time, luckily I was very lucky that we got such a professor that those who have given a field experience. We
Mm-hmm.
visited in meteorological centers, the centers. The first time we have seen the rainfall, that stations, the humidity and all, how rainfall is measured, how humidity is measured. So we visited that monitoring stations, and at that time, we have visited various industries. There used to be in Dehradun that time there used to be very less industry. At that time, we didn't have an industrial area. Okay,
Yes.
so because the industries and all they all were set up in Dehradun after 2000 only, when it's become a that separate state. Earlier, this Dehradun, Uttarakhand, it was a part of UP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before that, it didn't have a industry, but only few industry like distillery were there, paper and pulp industries were there. So we visited with industrial side, and at that time, we did some research work. We visited how ETP plant works.
Yes.
Okay, what are the toxic contaminants coming? We
Mm-hmm.
measure pH, temperature, TDS, and the that water quality. All the analysis we have done at field. So it was a very good time. At the beginning stage of my career, we I got such type of nice exposure. For that, especially, I am very much thankful to my professor because for them also it was new subject. And
Yes.
professor, they used to work hard. I've seen that they used to make handwritten notes and give everything, explain everything. So it was an amazing experience. Then when I completed my BSc, so obviously then I decided that I will do my post graduation in environmental science. So I got admission also. So there also I have done lot of things. We have got lot of exposure. I worked in a project like impact of oil spills on marine ecosystem. Then there was another that project I did in ONGC. Then there was another project I did, watershed management of Shehzara region.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Shehzara is a very good tourist place in Dehradun. And one of the main characteristics of that water is that, that water, it is coming from the sulfur rock. And
Ah.
that because once it is coming from the sulfur rock, so if people take bath, it help in, skin diseases. So
Mm-hmm.
that type of medicinal value is there. If somebody is having a skin disease, the one should take bath because it's a very kind of thing. So I did a research project in that only. Then well, in meanwhile, I have because I have to do my dissertation and I want some guide expert also. So at that time, I contacted with one of the NGO that is a SPATS,
Mm-hmm.
and the director of that NGO was Dr. Brejmohan Sharma. So
Mm-hmm.
he guided me how to work with the because it's a watershed project and we have to work with the community also.
Yes.
How the community, what is a living standard, what is a socioeconomic condition. So for that, I have contacted, and because they have a small water laboratories also, he gave me all the guidance and support. Then I did the analysis, I did research. In that way, I got a lot of interest. So luckily, in every stage of my life, I always got good guidance, support from my professors, my senior supervisor, right? And then this is the way like I did my MSc in environmental science. Then I have already decided that I had decided that I would like to make my career in this field only. So meanwhile I was searching some research opportunities in different fields. I tried in FRI, gave some exams also, Wildlife Institute. Okay, but the thing is that I was not getting that kind of the proper domains and the guide where I wanted to work. So I thought, okay, let's join NGO, because NGO is a non-government organization and they usually work with the different fields. So initially, luckily I got opportunity in one of the NGO called Academy for Mountain Environments. And the director, the trustee was late Professor Ramamurthy Sridhar. He was a very kind, dynamic, and intellectual person.
Yes.
So as I joined NGO, I mean, this is a very interesting incident I'm telling you. That time, I had gone in different NGO because I know that field work is needed. And so first I met with Dr. Ramamurthy Sridhar, Professor Ramamurthy Sridhar. So as I met him, he told me, Kanchan, what you have to do is I'm so happy that you have a passion, you want to work in this area. But I suggest you that just see our library. There are plenty of books were lying there, and he gave me 10, 20 different books which are okay, we study on this watershed management, water policy, environmental monitoring, this and that. So I was thinking, because see, I did MSc in environmental science, and my passion was, I have to do some job. I was thinking, I have come here for doing my job, and the sir is saying, we just have to study again a lot. First, you just get knowledge. He just told me, the first 3, 4, 5 months, you don't do any work, just take knowledge, study all these books. Okay, then you think what type of project you want to do, what type of research work you want to do. So basically, he was giving me kind of, feelings that if you want to work in a research area, so first of all, you have to get knowledge in different fields. Then you decide which area you got to get interest. He told me you have to. I'm not going to tell you do one thing. You have to create work for you. You
Yes.
have to create project for you. I'm not going to tell you you work in this area. So I was thinking, what is this? I mean, that time I didn't realize the importance. Then okay, I just took books, projects, reports, and everything. There was a lot of magazine down to earth used to come. I used to study this that. So gradually, when I started reading all these books, then after 3 months, I have written some proposals on urban environmental mapping of Dehradun and Indore city.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a kind of proposal we have developed. And small findings I would like to tell you. When
Mm-hmm.
once we have done in this project, now that is urban environmental management plan for Indore and Dehradun city. So that time Dehradun, it used to be neat and clean city. So we
Mm-hmm.
have measured ambient air quality parameter, water quality parameter, solid waste management study, water supply study for Indore as well as Dehradun. So the Dehradun data was neat and clean, very good water quality, ambient air quality. And Indore, that time it was suffering with the pollution problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's related to solid waste management, water pollution, air pollution. And we have written that those are the things in our report. And I'm talking about you that was the year of 2003,
Mm-hmm.
right? And see, now the reverse situation is there. Now Indore has become one of the cleanest city of India.
Mm-hmm.
And Dehradun, it is becoming one of the polluted city of India. So
Yeah.
see how the things has changed in past 10 or 20 decades. So
Mm-hmm.
once we were doing such type of studies, so that because of that, I got lot of interest in research field. Then
Mm-hmm.
later, after working 3, 4 years in NGOs, and I was just searching the research opportunities where I can enroll for my PhD and other things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I that time I have come to know that there's some vacancy in UPES. So I applied and I got selected also.
Mm-hmm.
So even during my interview only, our that chancellor, now he's a Professor S.J. Chopra, late professor. He suggested me, Kanchan, why don't you do your PhD? Because you know that if you are working in this research field, you have to do PhD also. I told him, I am searching the opportunities, maybe Wadi Institute of Himalayan Geology. So I met one of the scientists there, Dr. S.K. Bhattaria. So he told me, yes, it's better you, I mean, he gave a positive suggestion. So you must do your PhD from there. So then I started I met there Professor S.K. Bhattaria. He's the geohydrologist. So,
Mhm.
so because I had interest on this water pollution, basically. I wanted to do my research on groundwater contamination, water pollution. So I
Mhm.
met him, and this is the way like the journey started. So the topic of my PhD was impact of industrialization and urbanization on surface and groundwater quality of Dehradun and Haridwar district. So it
Mhm.
was a time, when the industrialization have started in Dehradun city and in Haridwar city. Lot of effluent were coming from the industries. So once we have done the field visit of industry, different area, so we have come to know that most of the industry they are discharging effluents directly into the that streams. Okay, the
Mhm.
small streams are there. That there they were discharging, and that streams it is further going to Ganga River or Yamuna River, right? Because in Dehradun, the wastewater, the effluent, there's Asan River which discharges water, Yamuna River, and in Haridwar, the streams they are directly going to be that river. And once we have collected a sample, groundwater samples, so even the people that time I'm talking about the year of 2007. That time people have complained that they were suffering with water diseases and some cancer problem also. And we tested the groundwater quality because these rural people they didn't have a municipal supply, that
Mhm.
water works supply. Okay, so they had shallow hand pumps, and there the water was severely contaminated at
Yeah.
the time. So then we have found the E. coli bacteria and total coliform test we have done. So as per BIS standard, the total coliform test and E. coli test should be zero.
Mhm.
And you won't believe that at that time we have found total coliform and E. coliform bacteria up to the range of 1,000 to even 4,500 in numbers. That was there in the drinking water of Dehradun as well as Haridwar district. In the river water also, in the, the, the tap water, the tubewell water or borewells water or the hand pump waters. So these are these kind of small the findings from my studies. So so because of that, that again, then I got more interest in these research area. That is more research needed, sampling and water analysis, and all these things we have to do. And then even there are other parameters also like chloride, sulfate, nitrate. They were also found very high, but I mean, in few locations only they cross the maximum permissible limit of BIS standard and WHO standard. Because in Dehradun district, if I tell you that we didn't have that STP plants. So
Mhm.
usually people now they have started
Mhm.
STP plants in our Dehradun district. Otherwise, there used to be septic tank, all the waste goes there.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
here, water is available at shallow aquifers. So that's why these E. coli and coliform bacteria and other pollution mix with the water bodies. So
Water.
my research was that the impact of urban waste as well as industrial waste on surface and groundwater. So that is so basically my research area include hydrogeochemistry, hydrogeochemistry, water contamination, and the water quality assessment. I'm also working in the field of emerging contaminants,
Mhm.
microplastics, and climate change related issues. And I have also interest in traditional ecological knowledge. I'm very much fascinated about this knowledge because
Yeah.
I believe that the indigenous knowledge and traditional technology, they are very much helpful. They, once we go through about it, like they in even in like just take the example of Uttarakhand only, right?
Mhm.
So here we used to have a water mills,
Yes.
small water mills. The people used to grind the floors and
Mhm.
all. So this was a kind of culture. Also, traditional ecological knowledge is which is also seen in our agricultural land. As I
Yes.
told that I am from the that village area, so we
Mhm.
had agricultural land also. And I
Yes.
remember that how my grandmother she has utilized her traditional knowledge in our agriculture.
Yes.
Okay, I remember that she used to ensure that there should be mixed cropping, multiple cropping
Yeah.
after every crop of wheat and rice. Okay, we should grow this leguminous plants like pea, mustard. The
Mm-hmm.
idea was, because and these things you teach the student. We studied in the books that in the leguminous plant there's a rhizobium bacteria, and that this rhizobium bacteria it convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate and nitrite and provide natural fertilizer.
Yes.
Now, what is happening? We forgot our traditional technologies,
True.
and basically, these are the organic farming technologies. So,
Yes.
we forgot, we are not following these things, and we have replaced our organic farming with the chemical fertilizer and pesticide. So, that basically it has converted our agricultural land into degraded land. It killed all the microorganisms, bacteria, which are essential for our soil, right? And because of that, the soil it become dry and it require more water for the irrigation than what we did. We bore holes, we made lot of tubes, bore wells to take the groundwater for the irrigation.
Yes.
The soil it is dry, and it also destroyed our that because of that water table it is also going down. So there's a water scarcity happening everywhere in the world because of that unsustainable practices, which
Mm-hmm.
we call the advanced technology of the using chemical fertilizer and pesticide. Although the indigenous technology, they were mainly focusing on the sustainability. So we
Yes.
forgot the concept of sustainability.
True.
See, people are talking about this sustainability concept. It's not a new concept. If
Mm-hmm.
you see in our country or maybe in other country also, it was existed.
Yes.
Earlier, the people, traditional people, indigenous community, they used to know. If we study the, even we have seen also in the villages, because I am the kind of generation, I have seen how my grandmother, she used to uh, conserve some seeds
Yes.
to grow for the next season.
Next thing.
Okay. And she used to tell us, okay, we have to grow mustard species. Whether we got oil or not, that is a different thing. But it helped in, increasing the natural fertility of the soil. So
Yes.
she know that sign that there's a leguminous. She didn't know that there's a leguminous bacteria or rhizobium. Sorry,
Yes.
rhizobium bacteria is there. But she know that it helps, it increase the natural fertility of the that soil. And she mixed cropping, multi-cropping. So this is one of the example like I am just sharing with you. So
Absolutely.
because I have say for my case, I consider myself very lucky because being that studied in village, born and brought up in a village, so I have closely seen all these things. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is a kind of that experience I am sharing.
Yes.
So
And this is very important because to most of the audience, which I'll say that Dr. Kanchan is saying lucky, but I will say that because she was attentive, she was observing what is happening near about, around her and the guidance she got. It is very important. This is how researchers have been always a different way they look at things. As Dr. Kanchan also mentioned about the vision they had, like at the age of 17 and 18 when people are not sure, like now the generation is different, people are more aware about their career choices, but when you made that decision that you want to become an environmental socialist, which you are doing so much great work in environmental sciences. Now what I'll ask is, like, when you have walked this path that where we used to say that okay, this will happen, now you have seen that has happened. Based on
yes.
this entire experience which you gained, now when you teach the next generation and train the next generation of researchers, how you motivate them that okay, we had made our environment from on a scale of 10, being the worst polluted and one being the most
Yes.
clean, and one we have already dragged it more than 6, 7, 8. Now what should we do to bring it back towards clean? As you mentioned that Indore from polluted to clean has happened, which is
Mm.
just opposite of what has happened in Dehradun. So
Mm.
now what do you suggest for the upcoming generation of researchers, that what are the different methods, technique, or approaches they should bring and start thinking about, so that now the clean cities can be maintained clean and then the polluted should also be brought to the clean state, city state?
So, so there are a lot of things, we can start working on it. In fact, I usually tell my student also. So there's a lot of issues are there somewhere. Suppose, first I take the example of water. So water is very much close to my heart, right? So whenever I discuss with the water, I always associated this water issue with my life. So very interesting story I'm telling you that when I was around 5, 7 year old, so that time I was going somewhere with my grandmother, and I have seen there's a Asan river which is nearby our village. So people were drinking water, right? So I told my grandmother ki why they are drinking this water, but it was just I have seen some of the people they were washing clothes. So I told people were washing clothes and why these people are drinking this polluted water. So my grandmother told me it's a flowing water. So if it is a flowing water, it never get polluted. It's neat and clean. So I thought, what kind of thoughts she has given? I didn't think, but now I realize that she told very correct. See, the water bodies, even the anything in our environment, nature, right? It is having a self purification capacity.
Yeah.
Okay, up to such concentration, okay, it can assimilate the pollution, right? So that's because in the water body there's a bacteria, there's a microorganism, okay, there's a plants are there, aquatic plants are there. So naturally in our environment, the phytoremediation, bioremediation, it is happening. Okay, so nature it is having a self purification capacity. Okay, but it is we should also understand that it is having a certain carrying capacity to assimilate the pollution, right? So even a small some amount of pollution which we are creating, contaminating, but it is having a naturally some bacteria, microorganism, it's a natural purification. It is also happening day and night, every time, whether it is a soil, whether it is a water, even in air, right? So then I the latest incident when I would be around maybe 13, 14 year olds, my
Mm-hmm.
father started telling me ki surface water, it is a polluted water. We should not drink surface water, but the water which is present under our earth, the aquifers, it is a neat and clean because when it's rain, it filtered with a lot of pervious, impervious. There's a filter mechanism exists in our earth. So the groundwater, it is a neat and clean. It's a neat and clean water. So I mean, see, I'm telling you, then when I joined my MSc class, I'm talking about the year of 2001. So that time people started saying ki we should not drink tap water directly. I'm talking about the Dehradun, Uttarakhand region, which is the Himalayan basin,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which considered one of the cleanest region of India, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, not right now. So people earlier we used to. I remember that at that time we used to drink hand pump water, tap water from the bus station, from the railway stations. We used to drink it, okay, because it is a groundwater, saying it's neat and clean. Surface water we should not drink because by the time now surface water it is polluted a lot. Then the time has come, the people say we should not drink tap water, hand pump water. You don't know what type of impurities, contamination is going,
Yes.
right? So we should use distillery water. So the same like people were doing, so I also, everybody do, we started purchasing distillery water. It is a neat and clean, safe water whenever we are going for the journey outside, right? Okay. Then the time has come that I'm talking about the year of maybe 2013 or 14. There
Mm-hmm.
was one research which was conducted by CSE, Center for Science and Environment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have written the article that in the distillery water, they have found the toxic contaminants
Mm-hmm.
of pesticides and heavy metals. And this type of research, it came in the newspaper, in the media. So see how the thing is, but why I'm telling this incident, now even the distillery water, 2012 and 13, it was also not neat and clean.
Mm-hmm.
So water, everywhere water is severely contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the kind of the problems also, and I relate with my that journey also.
Mm-hmm.
In my childhood, river water is neat and clean.
Yes.
Then the groundwater neat and clean. Now the distillery water, it is also highly polluted. We can't even trust on the distillery water, and even they have tested all the major brands of distillery. So I'm not going in that much detail of their research, but the
Mhm.
thing is that they have found the pesticide pollution, and later once they have researched, they found that all the distillery plant they were constructed in the industrial area, and industrial area most of the industry they effluent they were throwing that effluent, they were doing the reverse boring of effluents. I mean, they were directly discharging that effluent into the water bodies,
Yes.
aquifers, deep aquifers. So because of that, although they were treating the that water, but in our country we didn't have that much advanced technology which that could remove this toxic waste and the pesticide pollution.
Mhm.
Even right now, also we didn't have a such technology. I read that only some European country and US they have the technology. With the help of that, they could, they could treat the toxic pesticide pollution in the toxic waste. So that means so we have to see the research. We have to work in these such areas. Okay, so
Absolutely.
right now, like I start even now the new pollutions are coming up. Okay,
Mm.
like the microplastic, it is coming. Okay,
Yes.
it is. I'm doing the research, and we have tested some samples of different region of Uttarakhand region. We have found that high amount of microplastic in various locations. Okay,
Mm.
and the emerging contaminants, the pharmaceutical waste and all, they are also adding. So now that as the technology is advancing, the level of pollution it is also becoming very dynamic. I mean, the different types of pollutions are adding in the environment. Okay, like the microplastic, the synthetic things are coming. Even clothes are synthetic. Okay, everything it is a plastic synthetic. So ultimately, it is mixing with the mixing, going to the surface and groundwater body and reaching in our body and causing lot of problems related to cancer and other. So coming to your question that what should be the research approach? The first thing that we should focus on now, again, towards the strengthening of our traditional ecological
Yes.
knowledge. If we just focus on that, right? I'm not against of the advanced technology. Advanced technology should be there, but at the same time, our traditional knowledge it should be protected. For
Yes.
example, I'm giving you earlier in Dehradun, we used to have the thousands of water springs everywhere.
Mhm.
Now, hundreds of many springs have already been dried. Thousands of springs, I think, have already been dried. The reason is that we have destroyed our the surface water bodies. We are not taking care of the surface water bodies. If we study our traditional technologies of the agriculture, there used to be surface water bodies like ponds and rivers, and
Yes.
the community they used to take care of those water bodies.
Mm.
Okay, these surface water body it does not provide it provide the water for the irrigation and drinking, but at the same time it also help in recharging our aquifers groundwater. I mean, we see, we are not, I don't know what is happening. We are not able to understand the simple concept of hydrological cycle. This hydrological cycle, everybody studied in class third and fourth. So there's a water cycle happening, there's an evaporation, there's a condensation, there's a precipitation. Through precipitation, the water is going in lakes and river, then recharge happening. So we have disturbed our hydrological cycle. Okay, and so because of that only, everywhere we are facing the water scarcity problem.
Mm.
In Delhi, even in Dehradun also we have water scarcity happening. Water is not available during summers too in many places,
Mhm.
right? In Delhi and in Bangalore, it used to be a city of lakes. All the lakes they are dry. So only technology is not going to help. So we have to focus on these indigenous technologies for the water conservation, for even water purification. We should focus on traditional knowledge. So
Yes.
these are once we focus on these areas, then only we would be able to achieve sustainable development, which
Absolutely.
everybody is talking about.
Yes, and I think
So
the part of sustainability, as you clearly mentioned, that we should not ignore our traditional knowledge, which is very
yes,
important. And with the new advanced translational research, we have seen researchers pitching in to the traditional heritage which India has,
Yes.
which is so
Mm-hmm.
much in there, and that's just performing some scientific advance, as you said, the advanced scientific experiments, and then publish it. And then now people are more ready to accept the traditional, it is just like
Yes.
repacking of our own traditional knowledge
Yes. Yes.
with support of our experiments. And this is very important, as you mentioned. So
Mhm.
with this, we'll say that now you have shared so much of the journey, the passion which you bring, and one of the most important part which you brought to the conversation was like a researcher should be a visionary, that you should
Mhm.
be thinking of what are the problems which are going to come in the future, and how we should prepare ourselves for that, and also how we can utilize the available knowledge, even if it is heritage, traditional, from endogenous people, so that we can develop a sustainable environment and help humankind in general, including the Mother Earth, the climate in general. So with this, we'll say to all our audience that if you want to write to Dr. Kanchan, you can write to Dr. Kanchan directly for more information, mentorship. And if you want Empowering Science Foundation to put you in touch with our researcher celebrities, please feel free to do that. Just enjoy your passion, your research. And with this, we'll say thank you very, very much, Dr. Kanchan,
Thank
for
you.
sharing this journey and motivating so many more young brains to pursue research and to develop a sustainable environment for all of us.
In fact, I would also say it's my privilege. I'm very much privileged to be part of this exciting journey of this discussion. So thank you very much for giving me this platform. And
Thank you.
that's all.
Thank you. It was pleasure to have you. And we will say the information which you have given has might have ignited so many new brains that people now will go back to the traditional knowledge and will enjoy their research also. Thank you, ma'am.
Fine. Thank you very much.